Vimrishan Atmano Gatim Atmanam Cha Pravayasam Akalya Vishampati Panam Viraktaha Pratishthat Vimrishan Atmano Gatim. Atmanam Cha Pravayasam Akalya Vishampati Pratishthat Vimrishan Atmano Gatim. Atmanam Cha Pravayasam Akalya Vishampati Vanam Virakta Pratishthat Vimrishan Atmano Gatim. How you want to try? Atmanam Cha Pravayasam Akalya Vishampati Vanam Virakta Pratishthat Vimrishan Atmano Gatim. Thank you. Please repeat. Atmanam. Himself. Himself. Cha. Also. Pravayasam. Advanced in age. Akalya. Considering. Visampati. King Uttanpad. Vanam. To the forest. Viraktaha. Detached. Pratishthat. Departed. Vimrishan. Deliberating on. Atmanaha. Of the self. Gatim. Salvation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanpad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanpad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. Please repeat after me. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanpad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is the sign of a Raj Rishi. King Uttanpad was very opulent and was emperor of the whole world. And these attachments were certainly very great. Modern politicians are not as great as kings like Maharaj Uttanpad, but because they get some political power for some days, they become so much attached to their positions that they never retire unless they are removed from their posts by cruel death or killed by some opposing political party. It is within our experience that the politicians in India do not quit their positions until death. This was not the practice in the olden days, as it is evident from the behavior of King Tanpad. Immediately after installing his worthy son, Dhruv Maharaj, on the throne, he left his home and palace. There are hundreds and thousands of instances like this in which kings, in their mature age, would give up their kingdoms and go to the forest to practice austerity. Practice of austerity is the main business of human life. As Maharaj Dhruva practiced austerity in his early age, his father Maharaj Uttanpad in his old age, and also practiced austerity in the forest, both of them. In modern days, however, it is not possible to give up one's home and go to the forest to practice austerity. But if people of all ages would take shelter of Krishna consciousness movement and practice the simple austerities of no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds regularly, by this practical method, it would be a very easy task to get salvation from this material world. Jnana Timurandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shri Uttama Krishna Goswami Namne. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami. So I'll repeat the verse. Atmanam cha pravayasam akalya vishampati vanam virakta pratishtad vimrishan atmanogatim. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanpad detached himself from the worldly affairs and entered the forest. So first of all, I'll look at the key words in the translation, and it gives a lot. First one is advanced age. So every one of us are going to get there, and I'm already there, some of us are already there, advanced age. We'll grow old. This is natural. Once we are born, we'll grow old. Normally we say 1 year old, 6 months old. We don't say 1 year young, 6 months young. We don't say that. We say old. So everyone will go through this advanced age. And in advanced age, our body does not function well. We'll have all sorts of problems in our body. We'll get sick. We'll have knee problem. We might have few teeth left, and hearing problem. There will be eyesight problem. So there's so many problems, and the major ones, the heart problem, diabetes. These all miseries will come in advanced age. So we all understand that this is not a very right age for doing devotional service. So from this we should learn that we should start devotional service, bhakti yoga. As Prahlad Maharaj said, from year 5 or 6, at that age, and when you are youthful, this is the best time to do bhakti yoga, devotional service to Krishna, because we are healthy and strong, and we can offer good service to Krishna. But people have this misconception that when we are healthy and strong, when we are young, youthful, we should enjoy our senses as much as possible. And all this puja and bhakti, we'll do it when we are after the advanced age, like 60 years old. This is how people think, isn't it? And this is what we're told before. But Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we understand now, although all these things were in the scriptures, we did not get that. We did not understand properly. We didn't even read it. But in Krishna consciousness, we have learned that it's best to do devotional service when we are youthful, when we are young. So that's one key word, advanced age. The other one is deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self. So we should think about our own personal spiritual life. How are we doing? We should reflect on it. Are we making progress, or we are stagnant? We are just doing the same thing for years and years and making no advancement, no progress in our spiritual life. So we should be vigilant about our own spiritual self and question whether we are making progress or not. And the weaknesses that we have, we all have some kind of weaknesses in our spiritual life. Have we done something about it? Have we overcome our weaknesses? How? Well, we can share our problems with, we can confidentially with advanced devotees whom we trust. Our gurus, tell them this is my weakness and I have difficulty handling it. So they will definitely offer ways and strategies to overcome this weakness. So our spiritual self is so important. When we are making progress, when we are doing well in our spiritual life, then we can help others. When we are struggling ourselves, how can we help others in the spiritual life? So this is very important. We must always consider or deliberate on our welfare of our own spiritual self. And this is what King Uttanpad did when he was of that advanced age, maybe 60 years old. But in those days, they used to live thousands of years. And what was the advanced age? Maybe 20,000 years. I have no idea. But in present day, our average life is 100 years. So advanced age means maybe 60 plus. That's advanced age. So King Uttanpad did the right thing. And he says, King Uttanpad detached himself from worldly affairs. Detachment from worldly affairs. What are those worldly affairs? We have to perform to survive and also to do bhakti. Those are the four: dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. Dharma, we must do our bodily dharma. Like if you are a father, you must perform the dharma of a father. If you are a mom, make sure you do well as a mom. And then sons and daughters, and then you take positions in the society. You are a chairperson, or you are president of a temple, or you are a headmaster in a school. These are all your bodily dharmas, which we have to perform. But at the same time, while performing all these dharmas, we must perform the Sanatan Dharma. And Sanatan Dharma is not related to the body, it is related to the Atma, the soul. We must perform Sanatan Dharma. It is so important for our spiritual progress. So, We should perform our bodily dharma to the best of our ability. Simultaneously, we must perform our Sanatana dharma, which is the dharma for soul. And what is the dharma? Jivera Sarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. We must perform loving devotional service to their lordships and to our Guru and to the Vaishnavas. So, and the last one in this verse is and entered the forest. Entering the forest, going to the forest. In the past, all the sadhus, rishis, and devotees used to go to the forest to do tapasya. Now, that's the main purpose. Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is the main occupation of human life. The main occupation of human life is to do tapasya, to do austerity. And he also mentioned that currently it's not practical to go to the forest and do tapasya. That can be performed in our own houses with the family. There's no need to go to the forest. The Lordship, Krishna has simplified things for us in Kali Yuga. And the tapasya actually that we have to perform while performing devotional service, Prabhupada has given it clearly here, the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating. And together with that, that's tapasya for the body. The tapasya for the soul is chant Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Minimum 16 rounds daily. This is our tapasya. We don't have to go to the forest. So, like kings in those days, like Maharaj Bharat, who was the emperor of the whole of this planet, during his time, he also went. He gave his kingdom to his children at advanced age, and he went to the forest to do devotional service. And from his name came the name Bharat. His name is Maharaj Bharat. Bharat is India. So when he went to the forest, you know the katha, you know the story. We still have to be careful even in the forest. When we go to the forest, you have to be careful of the ferocious animals, but we have to be more careful with our devotional service, our bhakti, whatever we perform there. Maharaj Bharat, as you know, he got attached to a baby deer whose mother died while jumping over the river and trying to save herself and her baby from the lion or tiger. And this baby was born and was floating in the river, and Maharaj Bharat was there. And he saved that little deer and took care of her for him. And what happened? He got so attached to that deer that his devotionals, he spent little time in his devotional service, in his meditation and all whatever he was doing. And then one day when the deer went away further to eat grass, to feed himself, and Maharaj Bharat was very, worried. He was very worried, where's the deer gone? And he started looking for the deer. And he couldn't find it. He was looking in the forest, and then ultimately he fell and he gave up his life. He died. And what was his desire at that time? That little deer, that baby deer, whom he was very attached. and he became a deer in the next life. Antakale chamameva samarana muktava kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. Krishna says that at the end of our life, when we quit this body, we must, if we remember Krishna, we'll go back to his kingdom. There is no doubt about it. So that is so important. Krishna Smaran, or you can chant, if possible, you can say Krishna before you leave the body. How can we do that? It's not easy. We have to perform all this devotional service and get attached to Krishna and detached to the material world. And material world means everything, your family, your home, whatever you have. Be there and be detached. Perform your Sanatan Dharma. Serve Radha and Krishna, serve your Guru, serve the Vaishnavas, and chant the Maha Mantra. So it's not easy, but we can do it. And very important is association. Just like we are here, we come to the temple, we associate with devotees. We do it Namahatta programs at different houses in our clan. It's association of devotees is so important. And from there we get inspiration, we get the energy to continue, we get, empowerment. And of course, from our Guru and Guru Parampara, we get all this as well. So we can do that if you are in the safe zone. And if you leave this association and still want to do bhakti, then it's very difficult, very difficult. So voluntarily, King Uttanpad got detached. He gave up his kingdom to his very able son, Dhruva Maharaj, who was loved by the people. And his ministers also agreed with him, so he gave the kingdom and he went to the forest to do tapasya. And how did he perform and what happened? Maybe in the next chapter we'll be able to read and know about it. There are 4 ashrams according to Vedic scriptures. Brahmacharya, Grihast, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. These 4 ashrams are there. And at the moment in this katha, King Uttanpad has completed his Brahmacharya, he's completed his Grihastha ashram, and now he's on Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means go to the forest and do your devotional service. So this is what he is doing in this verse. And then sannyas. But the acharyas mention and tell us, advise us, devotional service must be performed in all the ashrams. You don't have to wait for Vanaprastha and sannyas. Sannyas is difficult. And it is forbidden in this Kali Yuga. Only a few people can do that. So, whether you are in Brahmacharya ashram or Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha or sannyas, devotional service is for all of them in any social order or system. Bhakti yoga is must. If you want to go back to Godhead, this is very important. You will make your life successful. So it is important to perform devotional service in all these ashrams. So currently, as you know, people, especially politicians, those who are on very high positions in the society, they don't want to leave their positions. They are very attached to fame, name, and the position. We all have seen. People don't want to leave their position. I think one good example is the Prime Minister of England. What is his name? He committed some activities which was not appropriate, but he still stuck to the prime ministership for so long he was dragging. And I think yesterday it was in the news that he, I think, resigned, forced to resign. Even his ministers, cabinet ministers, did not support him. So he stuck to it. He wanted to be prime minister. So this is a good example that he doesn't want to leave the position. The fame, the name, and the money, all those things come in there. That's a good example. Even in a smaller position, some people don't want to be like president of a society. They don't want to leave that position, and so forth. So they are very attached. And if you are very attached to all these things, even in our own home, if you are like that, so we, even those who are dads at home, it's mostly they want to show their position, and everyone must listen to them. But things are changing a lot. People understand that you should listen to everyone else, your children, your wife, your husband, and work things out properly. So finally, I would like to say in this chapter, in this verse, that it's very important to look into your own self, see how you're doing spiritually, and get help from senior devotees, from your Guru Maharaj if you are struggling, and be in association of devotees, perform your sadhana well. We don't have to go to the forest, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, and we don't do it. We can do all those things in our comfort zone at home, and we can go back to Godhead in this life, and that should be our aim. The aim should be Antanarayana Smriti, loving devotional service, spontaneous devotional service to Krishna and Radha. So I'll stop here. Any comments, any questions? So we'll stop here. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopremanande. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Gurudev ki jai.